Get to subscribe, y'all. Today's sign called Society.
All right. Can you hear me?
You are heard.
All right. So the question tonight, I hope you all can see my screen well. I worked kind of hard to make sure that you could see this. The book of Enoch older than Kemet? I will be your teacher tonight, say by Khazmik Sankofa, and we are going to get started, right? So this is a list of my sources. I could have did better in the presentation in telling you what information came from what source, but if you really want to see where I got all of my sources, this is the list right here. I will be able to go through some of my slides and let you see where some of the sources are coming from. So my discussion, basically my argument is going to be divided up into three different areas. One, the facts, right? The facts, generally agreed upon world history, what everybody in the world can generally agree upon based upon modern scientific, archaeological, sociological methods, right? That's going to be the first thing that we're going to look at. The second thing that we're going to look at is the internal evidence, right? Because we're really talking about we're talking about biblical history, we're talking about biblical understanding, right? So there should be some sort of internal evidence that I would have to go to in order to substantiate or unsubstantiate these claims. What does the Bible itself say about this book, right? Or does the Bible say anything about this book? And that's going to be the second stage of our second part of my argument. The third part of my argument is going to be the external evidence. What external evidence can we look to in order to understand what this mysterious book is? Because we can't act like this is a normal book. This is a mysterious book. A lot of the power of this brother's conversation lies in the fact that he believes most people don't know anything about it because it has been lost and it is not part of the biblical canon. And then it's like, why is it not? So some of the arguments that you're going to be hearing from my opponent comes from the fact that these are going to be books that he's going to reference that people have not heard about, read about, nor understood that even existed. And so this is where he's going to go. And if you are convinced, it's because you haven't read them, or understand the context in which they were written. So, and I'm going to discuss with you, my argument is going to lie in mytho-criticism, criticizing the myths of nations. All nations have had myths. So we're going to look at certain points, the origins and developments of the myths. We're going to identify similarities and differences that exist in myths across various cultures to see how things come about. We're going to look at a cross-disciplinary approach. We're going to use anthropology, sociology, literature, and other religious studies in order to really take a look at what we're talking about. Because I'm not here really to defend Egypt as a historical nation. That is known. We all know Egypt is ancient. People who don't even want to be African are trying to put Egypt in America because of the greatness of Egypt. I am not here to discuss the greatness of Egypt. We know Egypt is great. We are here to discuss this mysterious little book. This mysterious little book, and where does it come from? What is its origins? Why is it so different? Why was it such a trap? Or what was its understanding in ancient days? That's what we're here to discuss, right? Another thing is historical contextualization. What's the context that this book came about in? That's what we're going to discuss. And I'm going to talk to you about mimesis or mimicking or plagiarism. We're going to discuss plagiarism. Many of you brothers and sisters that are from the Abrahamic faith, you're going to find a lot of difficulty with my discussion because I'm going to show you something that you may not want to see, that you may not want to hear, but that is a part of your history. And we're going to definitely talk about it today. Now, mimesis has to deal with how somebody copies something. They have to have access to it. They have to have, did the people have access to this myth? There has to be an analogy. Are there other myths does this myth find itself in other cultures? Density, how many information parallels are inside this myth and the other myth, right? Then we got about look at the order. What is the order of events in one myth compared to the other? Do they match up? Then we're going to talk about distinctive traits of the myth. Is it just common writing, something that's common in writing, or is it something that is specific? And then we're going to look at interpretability, which means, does this myth show that it's superior to the others, right? And so the historical context of mimesis, back in the ancient days, people were very understanding that, one myth copied the others. The Greek Achilles is just like the Etruscan or the ancient Romans accolade. Adonis is the Egyptian Osiris. Mm-hmm. Dang it. Aphrodite is the Egyptian Hathor. No problem, no problem, no problem. But when it comes to Judaism, when it comes to the Abrahamic faiths, you all believe you're unique. You're about as unique as a dollar bill in somebody's pocket from the 1990s. Not really. All right, that's it.
Oh, with
Let me stop my share.
seconds left on the clock.
Hold on. Oh, hold on a second.
You said
Oh, wrong one.
as unique as a dollar bill. These back. Deep. I hope you all like that opening. That show was a shot, girl. What you said, that was a shot. You hear me? God, do I even have any dollar bills?
Not today, you don't. Not today.
If I got a dollar bill for the 2000s, what that mean? Yashar. Now you played that song talking about some cut 'em, cut it. Yashar, what you finna do? You ready for your opening statement, baby? Because we need to hear this out. Take that call. What's up? You ready? Whenever you start talking, Yashar, 2-0. It's on you.
Shalom, family. I don't have anything to present for the presentation. All I have to say is we all understand how counting works. Like 0 no higher, 1, 2, 3. Simplicity. What comes first? The topic of this debate. All of the extra information is okay. But you got to understand what the topic of this debate is. And what I'm going to show tonight is that 1 always comes before 2. And I think that worked that way since before we was created. Like before I was born type thing, I think they was counting 1, 2, 3. So 1 always came before 2. We're going to be real simple with this debate. We're not going to get in depth. Because it's not about what Kemet presents, even though we're going to tap into that. It's not about what Israel presents, but we're going to tap into that. It's about who comes first, Enoch or Kemet. See, the problem is majority of the people don't know where the word Kemet comes from or who name that is, right? Or who name the word stems from. They also don't understand that the very name that it stems from expressed to his sons that it will be a curse to them to touch that land, to touch a land that's not theirs. Things that you probably don't have an understanding of, but we're going to tap into these things tonight so that you can clearly understand that Enoch comes first before majority of that so-called ancient information that you have access to, that they give you access to. Enoch was before the flood. The person Kemet is named after. He also came when the flood, like right before the flood happened. But after the flood, he did some things that was questionable. And so with understanding these questionable things that he done, his sons decided to do questionable things as well. So then you see this whole bowl of confusion coming from one line of people, which is where this Kemet information stems from. So we're going to tap in. We're going to get an understanding. And we're going to show you the sources that you actually have access to, but majority of people just dismiss and choose to not tap in at all. But we're gonna show you tonight. So if you got access to screen, shooting, saving pictures, you know, writing down information so you can go fact check it for yourself, you're gonna have that tonight. You're gonna have access to that tonight. So get your pens, get your pads, get your phones ready. Let's get to it. I know y'all ready, because I'm ready. Shalom, family.
Well, coming out strong, coming out hard. All right, Khazmik, are you ready to start your first round?
Yep. Give me one moment. All right. So, yeah, no doubt. This is not numerology, mathematics, geometry, or trigonometry. So I understand that. As a matter of fact, this is more like chemistry, or, we can say Kemetic ministries, right? So let's get to the Egyptian facts here, right? When it comes to archaeology, we're dealing with the civilization or the artifacts of the Badari civilization, which is 5,000 BCE. Heracleopolis, which is 5,000 BCE. We got the pyramids at 2,700 to 1,500 BCE. Then we got Egypt has a unified state around 3,100 BC. When it comes to people, we know that these people existed. We got Menes-Narmer, 3,150 BC. We got Hatshepsut, a black queen, an African queen who ruled a black nation, who went out to Mesopotamia and ruled over Mesopotamia as well in 1507 BC. We also know King Tut, the little brother that ruled for a few years before he was assassinated. Then when it comes to the oldest documents, we got the ivory tags, which is 3,300 BCE. We got the instructions of Ptahhotep, 2375 BCE. We got the Edwin Smith medical papyrus, 1600 BCE, which shows the oldest surgeries happening in the world in ancient Kemet, right? These are facts, period, point blank, no mystery behind it at all, right? We got all of these different people existing here as facts, right? We got Hebrew facts. Give props to people that existed when they existed and give them what they did. We got the Mount Ebal curse tablet, 1200 BCE. You can look this up at the Times of Israel, 324-22. We got the Eshbal inscription, 800 BCE. We got the Kerbet Kifa Ostracon, 1000 BCE. We got people that we know. We got the Hezekiah coins going back to 703 BCE. We got, I can't pronounce his name, Ahaziyahu, excuse me on that one. Then we got Jezebel. Those brothers and sisters struggling to see the presentation. Apologies, I made the best I could. Then we got, again, the Eshbal. We don't have a lot of artifacts. I could have been better with my presentation of them, but I'm just acknowledging what we do find. Regardless of who you come in contact with, when you want to talk about the ancient artifacts of ancient Israel, this is what you can go to that'll clear every conversation up, right? No doubt, we have to respect what's there, regardless of what we want. We can't say these people didn't exist when we have artifacts of their existence. Now, but we're talking not about any of those things. We're talking about the Book of Enoch, right? Now, the Book of Enoch, there's no complete Book of Enoch in the Dead Sea Scrolls at all. So if he's going to come tell you he got his information from the Dead Sea Scrolls, that's not what's going on. He got fragments. The complete Book of Enoch is the Ethiopic Book of Enoch. And that's going to be important because there's something in the Ethiopic Book of Enoch that's very curious. This is going to be very curious. And we're going to bring that out a little later. I would like to hear the Hebrew response to that, right? But these are all the fragments. It's in the fourth cave. 4Q stands for the cave. Then you got the number, which is the fragment, right? So now the Enoch fragments are in K2. I already went over this. This is the Enoch scroll here. This is the Enoch scroll, right? This ain't a book. So now, if he's telling you, somebody that's telling you they're getting it from the Dead Sea Scrolls, he's not getting fragments. These are the fragments that are inside the Dead Sea Scrolls. Fragments, not a complete book. So when we go through the complete book, though, we're going to start seeing something that's very curious. Understood? And this is all broken up here, but give respect to where it's at. You got to understand what the book of Enoch is. There's 5 major sections: the book of the Watchers, the book of the Parables, Luminaries, the Epistle of Enoch. The interesting thing here is we're going to have to look at this birth of Noah story, right? Because this is important, because this is inside your book, and y'all gonna have to answer for this one, or at least let me hear your apologetics to the complexion of Noah. We're gonna deal with that in a second, right? No other scrolls have been found. You're not finding them any other scrolls, right? Outside of the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Now let's deal with the Book of Enoch facts. It's only found in the Dead Sea Scroll community, right? The Dead Sea Scroll, what is the Dead Sea Scroll community? Now we can look at them in the Dead Sea Scroll community. There's something called the Damascus document. It dates the founding of the community 390 years after Nebuchadnezzar and 20 years of blindness, in which gives a date of roughly 177 to 78 BCE. This community now, let's remember, this community has elements in it that's termed Enochian Judaism. This is what the scholars are saying, Enochian Judaism, because there's something about the book of Enoch that doesn't really jive well with Mosaic Judaism. This is one of the reasons why we'll discuss why some of the rabbis rejected it back in the day. Because in the debate before, one of the brothers said, it sounds funny with all these angel things going on. And we're going to see here how ultimately the development of the book of Enoch is interesting, right? But this is where my brother's claim is coming from. So he already presented it before. He said he says Enoch is a pre-Diluvian patriarch, meaning before the flood, right? And in the book of Enoch, it's telling you that Enoch was translated into heaven and then given all of these secrets, shown all of these luminaries. That's what the book of luminaries is about. And then, interestingly enough, Enoch is given power over the angels, right? That's the first step. That's one of the most interesting. There's 2 things that's going on. Enoch is given wisdom. Then Enoch is given power by God to judge the fallen angels. He acts first as an intermediary between the angels and God, and then God gives him the power to judge the angels. It's very interesting. But Enoch's journey doesn't end there, but we'll deal with that a little bit later, right? So we all know biblical internal evidence, which comes from, Enoch, which comes from Genesis. Dang, I should have put that better. But Enoch lived 65 years, became the father of Methuselah, and then lived 300 more years and definitely has astrological, connotations, because there's 365 days of the year. This is why inside the book of Enoch, it talks about the year, the calendrical year. This is why in the book of Enoch, it talks about angels presiding over certain days. Very interesting. And it's going to make sense once we do mythocriticism and contextualize where the book of Enoch came from, right? Let's look at
1 minute warning.
biblical internal evidence, right? The Bible does speak about the lost books of the Bible. Joshua 10:12 to 13, the book of Yashar. This modern book of Yashar is trash. It was a medieval creation. Chronicles of the Kings of Israel and Judah, 1 Kings 14:19. The book of Samuel, the Seer and Gad, Chronicles 29:29. The Manner of the Kingdom, 1 Samuel. We have lost books in the Bible. Nobody says, oh, I got the lost book of Enoch. None of that's talked about. None of that. So what is it? That's what we're trying to figure out here. All right. Let me stop my share.
Are you ready to go into your rebuttal?
Yeah, got a few questions. The fragments that he spoke about.
The seventh from Adam. Adam.
The fragments that he spoke about.
So it'd be Adam, Abel,
Ghost, you gotta go on mute.
You know, Seth.
Okay. So, hold on a second. Let me get it back together. Okay, so the fragments that he spoke about, Enoch. That confirms that Enoch has some writings down here. Right? And when you talk about a scroll, right? That means it was complete at one point in time. They didn't just roll up some fragmented stuff. So that lets you know that it's ancient, it's old, right? So this confirming a lot of things. So I appreciate your work. You come down to supporting my stance. Because in your presentation, I really didn't hear anything about Kemet being older than you. That's what this is about. And I'm going to keep reminding you about the topic so we don't stray too far away. So I got some more information that you stated, talking about modern knowledge, internal, which deals with the Bible, and the external, I guess, which deals with other sources. Yes, that wasn't quite clear to me. You know, sounded good, but wasn't that clear to me. So we talk about understanding the context of the information. Understanding what context of what information is up. We're trying to understand, did Enoch come before Kemet? You're talking about culture, you're talking about history, talking about things of these nature, when that's not telling us that Kemet is older than Enoch. It's not giving us no in-depth understanding on any breakdown that Kemet, right? Those who called it Kemet were literally before Enoch. I heard nothing concerning that. I'm not sure what the judges heard, but tell me what I heard. So my rebuttal is kind of like, man, I don't know what to really rebuttal, because if I start really rebuttaling what you're talking about, then I won't be. Right. So you brought out dates. You brought out all of these dates. My question is, did you get those dates from Emmett? Did you get those dates from, say, of Kemet? Because our priests were our scribes. They were the ones who wrote things. And Melchizedek, right? That's a title that we Israelites understand to be given to one man in our nation. And it was like that from the time of Adam all the way till it got to the 12 tribes, where it was just one man with one title, which was Melchizedek, which is priest king. Because our priests are our prophets, if you didn't know, according to the scriptures. But they are priest kings. So Enoch, if you didn't understand, which I'm going to show, was considered to be a Melchizedek for us. And I'm going to give you an example on why he was a Melchizedek, to show you how one comes before two. I don't have to get into chemistry. I don't have to get into statistics. You ain't got to go that deep. You just got to show you clearly who comes first. And then, you know, after we show you that clearly, then we can get off into the real information as far as having you think about this, having you think about that, having you go check this out, look at this, tap into that. But it's always good to make sure that you stick to the topic.
1 minute warning.
So, with that being stated, he talked about that the ancient Comedics give these dates. This was my question that I've asked already, and hopefully he got an answer for it when the Q&A come around. Do the ancient Comedics or Camites, do they give dates on the walls? Do they give genealogies, things of that sort, so that you can understand who is who came first, who came second, who came last? Do they give us any information like that? If so, can you present that to us? Can you show us any of that? That'll be cool, because then we can get an understanding on how they identify their creation process. Because we have a creation, meaning that we have a genealogy. We have one from the beginning all the way down. So I'm going to show you that.
What's up, everybody? And that's going to be going on to the first round. Ali, you there?
My mic socket. Absolutely. I absolutely am here taking notes. I'm looking at everything that's said about Enoch. I'm looking at everything that's being said about the caves and the information on Kemet 1 before 2. I'm hearing all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's getting real out here. I want to see some age though. You know what I'm saying? Where did these old niggas come from? Which one of these old niggas came first? We're gonna find out. But in the meantime, we'll be doing that by Yashar. It will be now your turn to present your first round. And then afterwards, it'll be your rebuttal for his round, Khazmik. In that order.
Let's get this information out here. I hope everybody is ready is keeping up, because there's a lot going on. So, Yashar, whenever you start talking, you know how this goes. Your time will start.
All right, family. So we're going to get right to it. All right. Y'all see the title. The Nation of Kemet, or the Book of Enoch. Make sure you understand that. The nation. So that means that it's talking about a people. He's talking about a people. So a people starts with one person. Do y'all understand? I hope y'all do. Like, that's simplicity. All right. So watch this. So here, this is a source called Ancient Order of Melchizedek. What I was telling you about our priest key. It's from Ken Johnson. All right. At the time of the flood, we have Noah, the 5th king of righteousness, priest, king, and prophet, taking with him aboard the ark all the patriarchal testaments. So even before the flood, before anything was known as Egypt or Kemet, we had writings on the flood from our patriarchs, meaning like Adam, Enoch, Methuselah, right? Those were our patriarchs that I just named off. And we had these writings on the ark. He says he knew the Messiah would come 70 generations after Enoch, which would be 66 generations after one of his 3 children. Which one of his 3 children would the Messiah come from? That's the question, right? But that's not the point. The point is we have writings, information before Kemet. That's the point. It says the pre-flood world, according to the ancient sources, Adam was the first king, priest, prophet. In this debate, I would trace the history of Melchizedek priest from Adam down to Noah to show that ancestor Enoch was before the people and practice known as Kemet. Right here, we have a list. Right? You see the source right here. For those who can't see too well, they blow it up a little bit. The ancient order of Melchizedek. Information that I just read on those two slides count from that source right there. So this is what it says. It says at this point, we have the priest flood list, Melchizedekian priest kings, right? This includes Adam, Canaan, Enoch, Methuselah, and Noah. Now, when I look at these individuals, one thing I can tell you is that I don't see Cam or Kim, right? Or Ham, right? Where you get the word committed or Kemet or Kemetic from, right? If you don't understand, we're going to show you. Hold on. Right? So here's the King James Version Bible. This is First Chronicles, chapter 1, verse 1. And we see here a genealogy, meaning a list of men, right? A list of men, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. That comes through one line, right? So we looking to see who comes first, the nation of Kemet or the book of Enoch. So you know that Enoch is a person too, right? Let's see. It says Adam, Seth, Enosh, Canaan, Mahaliel, Yered, Enoch. But they say Hanok, right? But we're going to look into H2585. Then it goes on to Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem. There's Ham. So it looks like Enoch in verse 3, H2585, is before Ham, which is H2526. And we're going to see about these names to see who is who and what is what, where these names come from, where this nation of Kemetic people come from, right? Let's see. So here we have H2585, right? Because when we go back, that's what we see right here when we see Hanak, right there in chapter 3, right? I mean, verse 3, right there, right? Enoch, if you take the H off, right? So let's go. This is where we at. We get the breakdown, right? Hanak, right? Hanak, right? And you see an antediluvian patriarch. So we see, compared to my first slide when I showed you about the patriarch writing, Enoch's writing is there because he's a patriarch. He's a patriarch. Okay, you see that Enoch is a real man. His writings is real because they found fragments. Khazmik showed us that. He expressed that very so eloquent. So we know that his information is real. His writing is real, right? So look, who might this be? Now, this is Genesis 9, right? And right there, right where I need it, right? Verse 22, chapter 9, verse 22, and Ham, right? H2526. And what is his name in Hebrew? Ham. Ham, right? Kemetic is where they get the word from. This is where they get it from. Ham, the actual man that they call Ham in the Bible, right? So what do it say? It says hot, from the tropical habitat, calm, a son of Noah, also as patronymic. His descendants or their country, which our brother Khazmik called Kemetic, the Kamites, the nation of Kemet, or the nation of Cam. We see it right here, family. You can't get away from it. It's right here. He tell you it's a person and it's, right? It's a person and it's a country. I showed you here, Hanak. My question to Khazmik is, where did the word Kemetic come from, sir? What man did it come from for it to be a nation of people? Can you show us that information from the walls of Kemet? Since Kemet is older than Enoch? Because Enoch, he shows us and gives us, he shows us and gives us an information that tells us that your information comes from what he know and understand, right? Right here. It says, and I'm gonna start here. I'm not gonna read all. It says right here where it says him writing. He went to seek for himself a place where he might seize for himself a city. And he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock. And he read what was thereon, transcribed it.
That's your time, Yashar.
I got you. I'm about to get in.
Looks like you got away. I hope everybody is really enjoying this because I'm seeing these comments go wild right now. Like, they like, what? Huh? What are you talking about, sir? They trying to figure it out, baby. These comedic science folks and comedic believers, baby, they is coming for your head, bruh. They not going. They said they need another minute. When he said, I need another minute, I wanted to hear that. Oh, Yashar, you better pick back up where you left off at. I promise you, because they need to hear that. Time keep on her job today.
Hey, it's going down. You hear me? It's getting real. We gonna need another episode. This gonna be a serious saga. It's a trilogy. What's going on?
As usual, as it should be. Because, I mean, how can we just contain all this information in one day, in one debate? And these gentlemen are bringing out the best that they got, Anita Baker. You hear me? So, with all that being said, give it all you got, Khazmik. Shalom to the panel, everybody. I'm going to need for you all to make sure that y'all do what it do. Share the live. Khazmik,
Yeah.
whenever you start speaking, it is your rebuttal round.
All right.
Rebut.
All right, no doubt. The brother said a trilogy. I see a travesty, right? You know, it's very interesting. So according to his logic, all I would have to do is put my name on the book, and that means that that book was written by that person. So I could say the book of Abraham is written by that person. This brother doesn't seem to comprehend what pseudepigraphal means. This is part of the pseudepigraphal information, meaning that it was attributed to being written by Enoch, but not written by Enoch. The person simply said, Enoch wrote this. And it's so strange because biblical history is replete with people saying, nah, this book ain't real. You know, the whole New Testament, when people are saying which books are real and which aren't, that's exactly what you're doing. As a matter of fact, within your New Testament today, biblical scholars are like, Paul didn't write all 14 of these letters because some things don't make sense. There's seven authentic letters of Paul: First Romans, First Corinthians, Second Corinthians, Galatians, Philippians, First Thessalonians, and Philemon. Those are the ones that say are authentic. The ones that are written by other people are Ephesians, Colossians, Second Thessalonians, First Timothy, Second Timothy, and Titus. One of the major reasons why they say that those are written by other authors is because they talk about the development of the church and other aspects of Christianity that wasn't around during Paul's time. Like, for instance, I think it's in First or Second Timothy where they talk about the structure of the church, which would have been too developed during Paul's time in order to have bishops and so on and so forth. And so then they attribute it to later times, thereby, but the person simply just said it's written by Paul so they can be popularized. So it seems like my brother simply thinks that because a book says it's written by Enoch, it happens to be. You know, in Egypt, in ancient Kemet, we have a book by Jehuti. Do we think, as those of us brothers and sisters that study African knowledge, that the book was written by the actual deity of Jehuti? If we think that, then it predates Enoch itself. because Jehuti is one of the first divinities that was produced after the oneness of the universe was created from itself, right? No, we understand that it was written by a man who said it was written by Jehuti, right? So we also understand the book of Enoch was written by a man who said it was Enoch's writing. But critical analysis is not something apparently that this brother promotes. This brother says, look, it says it was written by Enoch, therefore it must be written by Enoch. And then we fall into the same traps that other brothers and sisters have done throughout our history. We have Malachi Z. York coming to us, telling us we're from the alien Anunnaki. Look, this is what this says. This is what this means. Don't use your critical mind. Just believe what I tell you, right? We have the Urantria book. We have the Nation of Islam telling us that some big-headed scientists created white people and that the moon was blew up from the earth. And just because he said it, we shouldn't critically analyze it. We should just believe it, right? We shouldn't analyze it to understand where it comes from. We should just believe it because it's there. It says it. We should just totally erase our rational historical mind and just say, you know what, they said it's there. Let's just believe what they say. Let's look into what was going on at the time. It's very important to understand that the only place these fragments of Enoch are found are in the Qumran caves. That's very important. It is a Qumran document. We have to understand who the Qumran people were. We have to understand the historical context in which it was written. If you don't, you simply want to be believers, then believe. But those of us in Kemet, we were there and then we left because we began to use our critical mind to understand how things are created, understand how religions are created. Because if you don't understand how religions are created, then you're going to fall for anything. You're going to fall out of one into another. And we see it all the time. We see all these Mormons with the Jesus and the devil were brothers from another God. We see them creating these things. And why is it? Because somebody says it's brother says Enoch wrote this book because the name of Enoch is there. We need to be able to critically analyze these things where it's coming from. If we don't, we fall for anything. Now, as far as the nation of Kemet is concerned, the brother wanted to see a timeline, how ancient Egypt reckoned its timeline. Let's look.
How's that?
Huh? Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and look at this right here. This is called the Abydos Kings List. Inside this Abydos Kings List is all of the kings of certain dynasties. I'm not going to go through each one, but the brother wanted a timeline. These are the timelines within the Abydos Kings List. But this is simply documented. This is simply documented ancient Egypt, right? We have this here. We have the ancient artifacts here that speak for themselves. Do we have an ancient artifact for the Book of Enoch? No. We have its myth. We're going to go ahead and go into its myth a little bit later, but we have to look at myth. This is mytho-criticism that you're hearing, how we have to deconstruct the myths. In order to free our minds, we need to deconstruct the myths that have been given to us. We need to be able to see through the myth to see reality and stop the mystery.
Okay. Mm. 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 We got first round from both of these brothers up here bringing out this information, whether or not who's older, Kemet, the nation, or the Book of Enoch. And I think they're really getting into some good points, right? But the people want to see more. They want to see more. But what I really want to know is I want to know from you guys, right? Well, we have the opportunity to allow the judges to kind of deliberate on their information really well. Think about this and think about that for a minute. What do you all think in the comments? Who was the most impactful in their statements given today? Like, what do y'all think? Oh, why don't you say he can't hard? Guilty, guilty. Woo. I'm just saying, who do y'all think? Right? Who y'all think hit that first round hard in the mud right out now? Because you know, I'm just a hostess, right? I have no say. It all matters on what y'all doing. So what I'm gonna need for y'all to do, just put a one. Put a one in the chat if you think it was Khazmik. Just put a one. Put a one in the chat if you think it was Khazmik. Can I get some ones? What? One, two, that's three. That was a Q, it's a queen. I don't know what to say about that. That's 5 for Khazmik, right? 2 for Yashar. Oh man, I got 1 for Yashar so far. I got 5 for Khazmik. I know. you can't vote. Once you vote, like, War Chief Ghost, what? That must be a Kemet thing. What? 2. Oh man. We got
I
y'all
think
got
like
explaining to do.
I think in the words of like a great poet, American poet, profound man from our time, named Brain Max said, "Who you with?"
I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying.
Kemet still saying it?
Bebe's child. Bebe's kids. Wasn't that Bebe's kids? That was Bebe's kids. Yeah. Or whatever.
Oh, baby.
Nah, I think Bernie Mac wasn't he in bed? No, that was the other brother. I don't remember. Yeah. It was like I was a kid or something.
It look like y'all really kind of rooting for Khazmik here. Like, I saw fine thing. What's that kid count on there down there in them comments? What we got going on?
Yeah, that guy. Whoever that guy is, yeah.
Who is that guy?
It's a cartoon from a minute ago. I remember that joint.
That's Tracy Harris, yo. He was in House Party.
Yeah, I got it confused.
Hmm. Hold on, pause for a second, y'all. So before we get to the next round, what I need for you all to do is continue putting those votes up, giving everybody the opportunity to go ahead and say who they like for this next round, who had the greatest impact on your thoughts, who was on point with what they said they were going to bring out in that first round. Are you all able to articulate the things that you all heard? And was it digestible, right? Could you get it, right? Could you get it? Did it make any sense to you? Or was it just, because people in their own thoughts and in their own minds be really on a roll. And I want to make sure that this is getting through to the masses, right? I need to make sure that you all are definitely getting all of this to the best of the ability, right? And if you could, Ali, can you give a quick little commercial plug for us right about now? Take a little small plug real quick. Where's the after party going to be at?
I can let y'all know right now. I once heard a man say after the club is a hotel party. That ain't the case tonight. Because after this debate, you coming to the Club Yashar, where you can get every single thing you wanted to say at the person in the debate. You can talk to them face to face or phone to phone because we on the internet. Anyways, you can do all that at Club Yashar. Get everything you ever wanted to say out. Ask them, why didn't you bring this up? I would have brought this up. Why didn't you say that? Whatever you want to do, come on the dance floor and Yashar and get your boogie on. You know what I'm saying? Just don't spill no wine on the floor when you got some refurbished floors. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, make it do what it do. We're going to be there and we're going to be handling the questions from the debaters. They're going to pull up. You can get every single thing you wanted to say. Oh, it's that simple. Come to Club Yashar, man. And don't bring no swine.
Only come to elevate the mind.
That's right. And I also wanted to let everybody know that The clash of ideologies. The liberals versus conservatives will be going down on Monday, July 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Our lovely moderator is the queen down in the comments. We have our liberals with Team Balboa, and then we have Camp No Camp and Dago on that team versus Team Big General with Butcher and Candy, right? We have fact checkers, retaliation, and Tanya. Our judges would be Mother, Fusion Design, Unity, Elder Slim, and Jay Wood. They're going to be talking about the political climate that's going on today with these different ideologies in the world, with the liberals versus the conservatives, right? So we're going to get the chance to hear that. That's going to be over on It's a Queen's panel. Again, that's going to be Monday, July 29th, 2024 at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you guys mark that down as your calendars. Let's get that going for you all because that's going to be really hot and popping. You know what I mean? Like, that's the topic for today. Like, what is it really good? A lot going on here in the world, and I think this is really something that will help people come to the understanding of what side do they stand on. Us is Yasharala. You don't have to worry about us. We're extremely conservative, but they're not vote another one of these heathens over us. So we ain't on that. Y'all can be on that, but definitely we're not. So with that being said,
Salakia, I also want to say,
Yeah, go
make one
ahead.
more announcement. For Club Yashar, it's free before 12 in a Beagle sense, meaning if you first arrive before everybody else, you can hop on the panel and you ain't got to pay a thing. But if the panel is full and you want to come up, it's going to be 100 beans to come up. So free before 12, make sure you pull up, pregame, do all that, and get there before everybody else do. Okay, that's all. And yeah, we ain't pulling for a goddamn soul. All right, good.
Not now. You hear me? We don't do that around here. I'm sorry, guys. We just, yeah, we are very conservative, right? But yeah, we not voting for these damn devils to rule over us. Like, it's just absolutely diabolical to do so because they're not going to do a goddamn thing for us or our people, thoughts, minds, or anything like that. So we're going to keep it pushing. With that being said, oh man, guys. So let's move on to round two. But I really think that Khazmik won that first round. Ollie, what do you think? Did you count all of that? Because I saw a lot of ones in the comments.
Nah, that was just
Let me see what we got. Oh, let
Nah,
me go
arithmetic
back. Let me go back.
ticking. There's a
Lady
lot
Shay,
of ones too.
Love, Warrior. Let me see. We got Lady Shay, Love, Warrior, Capone. That's 4. Number 2s. We got Pretty. We got Ghost, War Chief. That's 7, right? Press Lick Dad. Okay, what a name. All right, that's 8. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You tried to vote twice, Fred. You can't do that. It's cheating. Stop cheating. Well, I think okay, Yashar, you got that first round, bro. Says popular vote. That was on you. You got that. What you got to say about that, sir? That's all you. Yashar?
It's on me.
Yep. You won the first round debate. The popular vote for the first round. So it's 5-8. You got it? Yeah, let's get it, y'all. All right, everybody. Since we're now going to move into this second round, our first opponent that will be up will be, again, Khazmik. Is everybody ready to go?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. And Rainwater, you ready?
I'm ready to begin when you're ready.
All right, hold on one moment. Whenever you start talking, brother man.
All right, here we go. So,
1 minute.
okay.
While we waiting on kids for a second, split second. Ain't no helping in the comments, man. Niggas better learn how to fight. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no help. This is not a tag team event. Solo, solo. Mano a mano. That nigga better learn how to bob and weave.
Let's go, let's go.
All right.
All right, Khazmik,
All right.
whenever you're ready.
So, it was really cool. My man said he don't have any questions for me because all I presented was facts. So, I wanted you all to know I'm only presenting facts. So let's discuss it. Enoch is a mythological character. Noah is a mythological character. Your whole flood story is myth. Now let's look at what's going on here, right? The biblical giants come from Greek myth. The biblical flood comes from the Mesopotamian flood. Now, in order to understand that, we have to look at how brothers and sisters, how priests mimic stuff. Let's look at the mimic. They have to have access to the myth. There has to be analogies in the myths. There has to be density of parallels in the myths. There has to be order of events of the myths. Then there has to be distinctive traits. What separates this myth? Is this simply a story, or did they copy one from the other? And then is one better than the other, right? But then we got to say, but how could this be, right? The northern kingdom of Israel, conquered by, who was that conquered by? Assyria, 722. Since then, underneath Mesopotamian rule, thereby exposed to Mesopotamian theology and philosophy. The southern kingdom of Judah, conquered in 586. All the way up into the Maccabean revolt and the Hasmonean dynasty, that was 444 years of Mesopotamian theology that they were exposed to. This is why when people say the Bible, Genesis chapters 1 through 11, looks oddly similar to Mesopotamian theology. But the flood story is very unique. It has Greco-Egyptian, otherwise known as Hellenistic influences. It has Babylonian influences and Judaic. Those are the three elements that make up this Enochian myth, right? Now, scholars has already identified. Now, remember, the only place you find these Enoch fragments are in the Qumran community. The Qumran community are Hellenistic Jews that the Maccabees were fighting against. These are the people that helped establish, or these are some of the people that helped establish the gymnasium that was in the Maccabean, that was in Jerusalem, that the Maccabees were fighting against. Because when we look at their documents, they have Hellenistic influence inside of them. These are the Essenes. All of the scholars are in agreement. This community was the Essene community. An outskirts of people that practice a different form of Judaism, right? The Maccabean revolt was against these type of Jews. This is why they had to be found. These are particular types of Judaism. In Enoch 3, Enoch becomes Metatron, an angel. What they're telling you is if you develop yourself well enough, if you become a righteous enough man, you become a god or an angel, which is Hellenistic theology. Right? This is, and then the Damascus document has Hellenistic elements in it, because in that document itself, it refers to the attributes of people as spirits. It tells you that there are 7 spirits in the Damascus document that leads to man's good future, are 7 spirits that lead to man's bad future. And they're like the spirit of the senses, the spirit of sight, the spirit of touch, the spirit of smell. If you study Buddhism or Hinduism, they just tell you those are the senses. But because they're influenced by Hellenistic theology, because there are remnants of the people that the Maccabees were fighting against, they tell you that they're spirits. Just like in Hellenism, they tell you that their demons are spirits. Let's see. They have the spirit of justice, which is called Dike, the spirit of strife, which is called Eris, then the spirit of love, which is called Eros. They are doing the same thing, just making it Judaic. Instead of giving them those names, they call them spirits, but they give them human attributes. That's where it's coming from, right? In the Testament of Reuben, it does the same thing. Well, the Testament is Reuben, where it says 7 spirits, therefore, are appointed against man. Those 7 spirits are his seven senses, right? I know time is running out. So I gotta go here. I gotta go quickly next. Now, the flood story straight up comes from Mesopotamian myth, down to the gods being upset with the way things are happening on the earth. Then this reads like this. You can't see it very well because it's not going on screen, but I'll read it to you. If anybody really wants to look up this presentation, the website is on the bottom, falsehood.my.canva.site. Go ahead and look that up if you're interested, right? But Gilgamesh was told to build an ark. Then the ark was built. Then the gods flooded the earth. And then what does tells Utnapishtim to build the ark and then flood the earth. Then Utnapishtim, the ark lands on a mountaintop. The Utnapishtim then lets forth the birds to see if there's any water, if the water has receded, right? Just like Noah. So the biblical flood story is mimicking the Mesopotamian flood story. Why? Because the Jews spent so much time in Mesopotamia. Everybody's talking about this flood story. The Jews were conquered by the Greeks, and they have the Greek philosophy being inside this book of Enoch. But is that enough? Because Enoch is what? The 7th patriarch from Adam, right? In the biblical flood story, there is a person called En-Menderana or En-Menderanki. Who is this person? This person is the 7th person from the first man on earth. What happens to En-Menderanki? En-Menderanki is taken up by the gods. What is he taught? He is taught how to divine, then he is taught the secrets of the nature of the universe. What then occurs? En-Menderanki then teaches man the same secrets, right? He is the 7th patriarch, so to speak, from the flood with an abnormally long life. Enoch, the 7th patriarch from the flood with an abnormally long life. They copied the myth and made it their own, just like they copy everything else. They copy it, make it their own, and then try to tell you they're original. And they're about as original as a $1 bill inside the pockets of somebody living in 1990, or as original as your debit card in your pocket alone. Every one of us has it, just like everybody else was having the same myth. So they copied it and made it their own. They didn't have the myth. And then the Qumran community happens to be the only one that has this myth. It fulfills all of the elements of copying. They were there, so they had access. The analogy is deep. There were other mythologies as well, Deucalion and the flood in the Greeks. Endomeraki is the seventh patriarch from Adam. The distinctive traits, this is only this flood story that happens like this. This is a copy. It's a poor copy, as a matter of fact. And this is why this book was rejected by the rabbis of the 1st and 2nd century. So says Rabbi Simeon, who was a disciple. I forget his master's name, but he's like, everybody's into these weird angels. This is why it's that. Understand where it comes from. They're copying the myth of their oppressors and making it their own. The flood is a myth. There's no history of the flood. There's no evidence of any of this. This is a myth from Babylonian to Judea and coming over into our piece.
Oh. Wow. Star. Not going on here. Very interesting, people. Oh, child. He said it's a myth. The flood is a myth, bro. Well, I'm gonna leave it up to you because this is your debate. I'm just a host. Thank you all for joining us. Kiss Kiss Happiness here. Your wonderful debate that call society hostess. I hope you all are learning something. Make sure. Sucks to be you, man. Listen, I'm glad everybody is enjoying this opportunity to hear this wonderful information coming out. Yashar, whenever you're ready, it's a go. On your rebuttal.
You're muted, brother, if you're talking. You're muted if you're talking, brother.
He's not saying anything.
Oh.
I'll say this. The brother made some claims, and I'm baffled at the claims that was made. Again, we still talking about what came first. Not if anything is a myth. Not if anything is fake. Now, mind you, I brought up records, names. It's been documented throughout history. That's what I brought up. We can look at it in the Hebrew or we can look at it in English. They're still documented. They're there. Okay. Right? So, what I don't understand is how he's not showing any documents according to their record about who in it, because I have yet to hear him speak about Kemet. It's all been about Enoch. He's supposed to be standing and presenting that Kemet is older. I have yet to hear it, so it's kind of hard to rebuttal things, but because I got a little time, I'm entertained what I heard, right? Entertained a little bit. He said it wasn't no flood. Petrified beings, animals, stuff like that, right? Excuse me, y'all. This, just from my little pictures and things like that. But here, right? Let's start here. This is, people can say it's a mountain, but it looked like a body, which would be the reason of the flood, right? You see the head, eyes.
Are you kidding?
Right. This is it right here in the daytime. You can see the shoulder, the head, right? These are petrified beings that got caught up in the flood that the brother says a myth. This is in Peru, right? This one here, you look at that head, You see the nose, you can see the lips. They call these things mountains in some places. But I'm just showing you these petrified places and things and beings. Now, you know, people not going up there carving these things out. These things are happening because of that mythical flood this brother is talking about. Now, I don't know no artist that's taking ownership of creating these things, right, in these weird places. And this is Golgotha, right? You see that skull right there. You see the eyes and you see the bridge of the nose, right? This is what Yashar was hung on, that mountain, Golgotha. That's why it's called Skull Mountain, right? And you can see why it's called Skull Mountain. Somebody went down there, you know, took their time and carved it out, you know. But I would say absolutely not. I would say that something covered this thing up to the point where it couldn't move. All right. So the brother said was no flood, and it's evidence all over the earth. When we look into the Grand Canyon, we can see structure that was all throughout the canyon. We can even see structures that still up under the water to this very day. We can see roads that's up under. All right. I wasn't expecting for this man to speak on these things, so I would have asked some information so I can share with you all. If you go on Google Earth or you search for roads under the sea, you'll see it. They'll show it to you. Just a matter of research to check the things out. Right? They even got petrified animals. I didn't show any of those, but they got petrified elephants. If I go back to my pictures, I can show it to you.
1 minute warning.
Carve those things. But the fact is this. The man said that there was no writing found of Enoch, but Enoch has his name on all of these ancient texts. His name is mentioned even in the Bible more than once, not just in genealogy, but also according to books that's written. He has yet to prove that Kemet is older than Enoch. When I've showed that Enoch is actually older than the man Kemet, where the name comes from. I've asked them to show us where this word Kemet comes from, according to the Kemet, and he has yet to present that information. So hopefully he can do that before the end of the day to help them out a little bit. And yeah, I'm still waiting to understand when and who is older, right? Because again, the information that I'm about to present in my presentation is going to substantiate and put a stamp on my stance on that art information. Is in.
I asked y'all, did y'all want more time? Taxes. Man, you sure got a lot of unanswered questions, Khazmik. I don't know. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That was some kind of rebuttal there. He's still waiting on all this information. All I know is Brother Dan. You ready?
Whenever you ready, Yashar.
Whenever you ready to get in for your second round, so that Khazmik will go ahead and rebuttal you, we can start. Yeah, because we need you to leave off where you left off from. Go back.
Gotcha. All right, let's get it. It's my source, right? The Book of Jubilees, chapter 8, 1 through 4. The information confirms that before Kemet, the so-called land of Enoch, Enoch lived before the man and the land that was named after Cam, the second son of Noah, was born. I'll show you the genealogy so it's crystal clear. But before we do that, I just want to tap into this information that was found, not in Kemet, but just found, right? And it says this, and he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock. This is after the flood, okay? It says, and he read what was thereon, and he transcribed it, and seeing owning to it, for it contained the teaching of the watchers, in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and moon and stars in all the signs of heaven. Ain't that what Kemet teach? Ain't that what they dibble and dabble in? But I don't read Kemet right here. I don't read it mentioning Kemet anywhere. I read it mentioning about the beings that taught mankind about how to observe and to worship these things. That's what I'm reading about. But Kemet, I don't see nowhere. But you know what? I do understand here. Noah, right, is after Noah. Excuse me, Enoch. Noah comes after Enoch. And this is talking about the genealogies of the descendants of Shem. So this is well after Enoch. Okay? Just to be clear, right? Just to be clear, right? So we get to the book of Yashar, right? And it says, and Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Yahweh after having begot Methuselah, and he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch, the soul of Enoch, and the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at this expiration of many years, while he was yet serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven. And he said, here I am. And he said, rise, go forth from thy house, and from the place where thou doest hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and work which they must accomplish to enter, the ways of Yahweh. And Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of the Lord. I'm going to stop right there, because Enoch is moving and teaching. I don't see Cam moving and teaching nothing, right? Because Cam is not even born yet. Cam is Noah's son. And guess what? Noah is a great grandson of Enoch. So without Enoch, there is no Noah, nor is there no Cam or Kemet. So again, I asked this brother Khazmik, who is older, because he have yet to prove it. This is the book of Jubilees, chapter 10. It says people like to say we get everything from Kemet with no sources to prove their lies. Our sources say we have always been a wise people because of our Ab Yahweh and the wisdom and knowledge and understanding he allows us to obtain, right? And it says this, and one of us, he commanded that he should teach Noah all their medicines, for he knew that they would not walk in uprightness, nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. All the malignant, evil ones we bound in the place of condemnation. And a tenth part of them we left, that they might
be subject before Hashatan on the earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their diseases together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth. And Noah wrote down all things in a book as we instructed him concerning every kind, of medicine. Thus, the evil spirits were precluded from hurting the sons of Noah. So I'm going to stop right there, right? Because again, like I said, the wisdom, the knowledge of herbs, taking care of ourselves, medicine, came from the angels to our forefathers, Noah, not through the walls of Kemet, love. Kemet has yet to be mentioned. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to understand, right? Book of Yashar, chapter 7, 23, verse 30. What do it say? It says, and Cush, the son of Ham, the son of Noah, took a wife in those days, right? And we're going to bring it down, right? It says, at that time, the sons of men again began to rebel and transgress against Yahweh. And the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garment of his son, of the skin of Yahweh, made for Adam his wife, he gave to his son Cush. For after the death of Adam, right? After the death of Adam, the garment was given to Enoch, the son of Yared. And when Enoch was taken up to Yahweh, he gave it to Methuselah. And Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them to the ark. 27. And there going out, Ham stole those garments. Again, this is Ham talking about. The Hamites stealing garments. I don't have time to keep going, but I'm going to share some more information, family. Trust me, because I got a little bit more to share. I do. And we're going to get to it, right? We're going to get to it. So with that being said, Cam is not older than Enoch. So that's what this debate is about. It's not about the real in-depth information about mythological this and mythological that. It's about who's the oldest. I yield.
Who is old? Kimmy? Nation? What we got going on here, y'all? I mean, where you at? What you got to say about all this? Let me find out.
I mean, they bringing out the fast. They bringing out lineages. If this was ancient Mari, Enoch would be the pappy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he bringing out the lineages. Your daddy's daddy. So I mean, I don't know. I gotta hear how Kemet would. Where does that fit in? You know what I'm saying? I want to know what Khazmik has to say about this. I really do, because we have heard a lot about Enoch and Cam, but we haven't heard a lot about Kemet just yet. So I want to see where you're going with it.
I want to know where he's going with it too, because, man, yo, shalom to everybody in the building. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just ready for Khazmik to go ahead and get his rebuttal in. Khazmik, you ready for that?
All right, yeah, let's go. I guess. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, Captain. All right. Well, you know, if oh wait, hold up. All right, I was on mute. Sorry about that. I gotta tell you, if my audience believes that water can petrify flesh, then I've lost the debate. I have 100% lost the debate. If you can't, the myth, Enoch is a myth. Enoch is Enduranki from Mesopotamia. I am arguing against the person who believes that a myth exists over actual evidence. I asked for archaeological evidence. He can only bring me up people who talking about people who already believe in it. You have no archaeological evidence for Enoch. Sorry, Abrahamic people, y'all don't like that, but you need to hear it. The Bible did not exist before the nation of Kemet. It existed way after. The myth of Enoch comes from Enduranki, which was created after you were released from the Persian rule. Babylonian rule by the Persians. That is the argument. My man's not ready. He even says he's not ready because he doesn't understand the origins of his things. I question the critical mind of the people. If you don't know that the book of Yashar was written in the 18th century and is considered a forgery, then I don't know what to tell you. The book of Yashar was never found. It was a pseudo book. But if you all just want to believe something based upon somebody's name is on it, then go ahead. Because like I'm telling you, that's how people manipulate the people, the slow of mind. That's how people get you. They say that this is written by this person, but it's written by somebody else. Listen. And as far as his Kemet, before the 11th dynasty, ancient Egypt was known as Tamari. If you want to know history, Kemet means the black land. Tamari means the beloved land. Kemet doesn't come from the word Ham. That's your biblical myth. Mizraim. According to you, Kemet was known as Mizraim. Only you say that. Only people steeped in biblical tradition will say the things that this man is saying. Outside of the Bible, outside of this room, you have no weight. Even inside of your own circles, your book of Enoch has no weight because it was written during the Hellenistic time. If you are not understanding that those Hellenistic Jews that existed during the Maccabean era didn't completely turn away or go away, and this is the community, then of course I lost the debate because you don't understand your own history. You're not understanding what went on in your own history and who the Maccabeans were fighting against. Enoch, like I said, Enoch is a Mesopotamian myth. Kemet is over 6,000 years old. This book, you don't find it before 2,300 years ago, period. So this whole Enoch, your myth of Enoch, you don't understand that people are making up a story based on this. If you can't understand that, then that's how it goes. But that's what's going on here. You're not even addressing the understanding that 7 of Paul's letters are considered false. If you can't understand that and how, then you just go ahead and believe anything. Why don't you do that? That means that anything anybody writes and puts their name on it, you're just going to believe it because they said so. The Qumran community is remnants of the Hellenistic Jews. The Book of Enoch is a production of this community. That's why fragments of it are not found anywhere else but here. The story of Enoch is just like Noah, and it's copied from the Babylonian story. My opponent says he didn't know this. He's laughing because this is an attack, a direct attack upon the foundational myth of their theology. The nation of Kemet, like I said before, the nation of Kemet, then you have to if you're going to go with the Book of Enoch, you're going to have to understand, and that leads into macabre mysticism. So if you can think that you are going to become an angelic being if you live a life of righteousness, which is what the Qumran community was doing. When you read their Song of Songs, they were angelic priests mimicking the angelic priest in the high heavens. Then they could become angelic priests and judge angels. If you're saying that that's ancient Judaism, then of course, but you have to be steeped inside your own mythology. The Bible is not before Kemet. But if you're a biblical believer, that's what you're going to say with no evidence outside the Bible. My man is bringing up books that are known to be written in the 18th century, 17th century, medieval times, and using it as evidence. It's like a circular argument. The book says it's right, so it has to be right. I can't find it in history anywhere else. My book says it's true, therefore it's true. Really? That's not how it works. I have to accept the Jews as existing in ancient times because there is documented evidence. I have to accept the Jews in ancient Egypt because there's documented evidence, but not the Exodus. Understand mythocriticism. Understand how to have a critical mind and understand when you're being given a lie.
Interesting thought. interesting argument, if I do say so myself. We got all kind of people in the comments who are really going in on. I hope you all are ready to have those questions going, because I'm ready for the questions. Because I know people in the comments have too many questions. Let me see. That was your rebuttal, huh? Where we at? Where we at, y'all? Yashar, are you still there? Well, thank you too, honey. Thank you. Thank you. You on mute. You saying something, or you just out here looking? What you looking at? What's happening? I can't hear
That
you.
was his brother to my second presentation. So but closing all the questions now. Q&A. What we doing?
Oh, crap.
You ready, Khazmik?
Yeah, actually that was my closing, but let's continue on. Yeah. Because my man doesn't.
That was a big gun.
Yeah, that was it. But I mean, I can still go on. That's not a problem. That is not a problem. You see, this is the interesting thing. In the book of Noah, this is what has to be questioned. In the book of Noah, it said, well, let's I wish I should have copied that. In the book of Noah, it says Noah is born white. This is in your book. Now, I'm going to have to hear a serious apologetic against that. So that's a very interesting take on things, because we're arguing this because apparently this is supposed to be Black history. So if the progenitors of the races after the flood is white, well, damn, that's very interesting. But that's coming from the book of Noah, right? That's in the chapter, I think that's chapter 108 in the book of Enoch. And so that's a very interesting chapter right there. That's very interesting to me. If you don't understand that books are written, somebody can say it's the book of Enoch. That doesn't mean it's written by Enoch. You have to be more critical than that. If you are not more critical than that, then you fall for anything. This is why pseudo leaders end up popping up everywhere. This is why Nation of Islam can say that there's a big-headed scientist named Yaqub, because we're not critical. This is why Malachi Z. York can go ahead and create all these cartoon characters in his book, because we are not critical of what he's saying. This is why people can create all of these stories, because they are not critical. This is why the Urantria book, this is why the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ can just say, here are the missing years of Jesus, right? I wish I would put this down in my presentation. The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ documents, so to speak, the missing years of Jesus from age 12 to age 30. Then the Moorish Science Temple founder comes along and he copies the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ word for word and creates his own Circle 7 Quran. Now, because people lack critical thinking, they believe that the Circle 7 Quran was an original document, not understanding it was taken from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ, based on writing and putting your name on a book and giving it authenticity that it does not have. This goes on today, just like it's been going on back then. It is a strategy and a technique people use. I can say, like I said earlier, the book of Jehuti, the book of Thoth, was written before creation in our own mythology and Kemet. But I understand its mythology, and I have no problem saying that. But you all, this argument, can't understand the mythology in it. You all can't understand the similarities between the stories in your religion and the stories in Mesopotamian philosophy, Greek philosophy, Egyptian theology. You all believe it to be literal, and it's not literal. It's copies of other stories. You all are copying other stories, and you're telling it like it's true. This guy is telling you that water will petrify flesh, and you're going to sit there and, oh, that's a good point. I really, if I lose based on that point, if I, well, you know, if you gonna give him that point, give him that point. I'm good. I'm good. That's a weird argument. But of course, anti-scientific. Go ahead and believe it. Go ahead and believe water petrifies flesh. Or maybe it's angelic flesh, and angelic flesh turns to stone. Is that the discussion that we're talking about? Use common sense here. Understand what's happening. 444 years to copy Mesopotamian theology. That's what we're looking at. This is why we have what we have. This is why their stories are similar to others. This is why the Moses story is very similar to the Sargon story. This is why you have doublets in the Bible, because they're copying other stories. The giants, this is why Josephus, when he's writing about the giants of the Bible, compares them to the giants in Greek theology, because this is the mythological environment that it was created in. Apply your critical mind to what people are telling you. Understand that regardless of its Kemetic theology, African philosophy, Indian philosophy, Abrahamic theology, it does not matter. If you do not apply critical thought, people will lead you astray. That's it, period. All right, yeah. I don't talk that much. I'm done.
No problem. If you want to end your round, Rainwater, you can go ahead and stop it right there. Ooh. Stop that. Yashar, whenever you are ready, your time will start. Kemet is still standing with all the proofs. Mm. Mm. I'm just.
I want to make this statement real quick. He said that human flesh can get petrified by water. Human flesh is considered to be organic matter. She didn't know that, God. It is considered to be organic matter, but inorganic matter can definitely be petrified underwater, especially when it's mixed with soil and it's like buried. Right. That's why you don't see the bones. Right. But that's neither here nor there. All right. Fact check that. So, neediness. Spoke about land, right? Stealing clothing that's not yours, that you're not